prepare everybody for how ratchet this episode is going to be. But I have a serious question. We were talking before the podcast. What is the most shallow thing you've ever done when it came to like dating? Like why you wouldn't date a person? Like what's the most shallow reason you wouldn't date or talk to a person?
Catherine, you first. You know what? Now I'll go first. Yours is soften the blow.
Is it because they're fat? Is it because they're fat?
Yes, that is the reason. And honestly, this is because I've lost
my gosh,
weight.
I can't be on this episode.
I've lost weight and stuff, so that's probably the shallowest thing. Yeah, I know it's bad. I know it's bad.
Are you being for real right now?
Yes. I'm saying this is the shallowest. Look, we're being honest. This is
a safe place.
This is a safe place.
You're at a bar with your friends. You're just, shooting the breeze. Catherine, what's the most shallow reason why you wouldn't date somebody? If it's not because they're fat, I'm gonna say it's because they're black.
I would say it's because they're bald.
Oh! I was gonna try to save it with the race angle, but now all bald people are gonna be really disappointed.
Welcome to the Unsolicited Counseling Podcast. We're your hosts. I'm your boy Jermaine.
This your boy Martin.
And I'm Allison.
And I am so glad I dodged that bullet. There will be no hatred coming my way. You guys are bigoted. You guys disgust me. You should be better. The market out there, it has to be like the dating market out there has to be like so vast, and you're like shrinking your market. I know that a lot of women want like a guy who works in finance, who's 6'5" with blue eyes and trust fund. Is that still a thing?
I thought it was the sixes, like the mark of the beast. You gotta be 6 feet tall, six figures, and 6-inch dick. Has that changed? Like, is at least
Catherine, as the resident female podcaster, what are we looking for?
Oh, I'm Allison. I'm filling in for Catherine.
Catherine's twin sister.
Episode off.
All right, so Allie, what are you looking for in a guy?
It's funny. I was listening to another one of those TikToks earlier, and the girl said he was a mechanical engineer. So, like everybody's dream job. They're like, wait a second. Mechanical engineer is nobody's dream job.
Right.
We're just looking for nice people, good hearts.
Good hearts. Okay. So I think that's a very good answer. And today, guys, we're going to be talking about, it's all over the place, but today we plan on talking about dating apps, because we talked about a couple episodes ago about how marriage and roommate life was hard. So today we're going to get back to it as, I feel like this is now annual or like quarterly. We talk about dating apps or dating in general, but we're going to talk about how dating is hard now that, Catherine and I are out there and Martin's living vicariously through us, and
I wouldn't. Sorry, balloons. No, I wouldn't say I'm living vicariously through you all, because right now you guys, to my knowledge, aren't doing anything, and last thing I want is a dick in me. So I definitely don't want to be Catherine. So let's start there. But as far as being in the dating life, it sounds exhausting from what I hear from you guys. Like, what's going on out there, Jermaine? What's happening?
So with me, as like I started this thing, like, where are you looking at that?
I don't want to dick it.
Oh my God! Come on, get it together.
I'm here.
Were you so proud of your joke?
I was.
I told you guys before we start that I we don't want to get canceled, and you just dive in deep.
Well,
you got to start somewhere.
You don't put this
on.
No, go ahead.
Nothing.
I just got too excited. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Martin.
No. We're off the rails. You tell me about your dating life right now. What's going on? What's happening?
All right. So, as I mentioned in the past episodes and stuff, I'm on this dating journey, and it's rough. It's rough, but it's enlightening. It's very I've been out the game for God knows three years now. So it's been a minute, and things have changed, bro. but I don't think things are like. I think more that I changed, and I'll talk on that. Like dating now, like you gotta kind of read between the lines. And Catherine mentioned off the podcast there's a TikTok she follows about ghosting and stuff, and the etiquette and the ways people like choose to either make assumptions, or if you start out too fast, or you can't read the red flags. It's hard, man. I feel like dating now is kind of like watching Love Is Blind or like Reddit. It's crazy out there, man. And all right, so for me, it's been a roller coaster, but mostly I can say out of the stuff I've learned from dating so far, it's like if someone says I'm trying to figure stuff out, they're definitely not ready for a relationship, and they want to go to iFly. And if they're already like planning something, you got to know like you're really into this person. And that brings me to what we were talking about in the beginning of the episode of like, you said the shallowest part, like your shallowest moment. That reminds me of the work that I've been doing to trying to figure out the type of person I want to be with. Not, in very detailed. Like if I had a canvas, like obviously this person's not going to be there. They don't exist. They're not perfect, right? Mm-hmm. But like you start to see like trends of like, or of like what you want or what doesn't really matter to you, like you thought it did. Like when you really sit down. So I've been doing a lot of journaling during this time, exploring the city, like finding new bars and places to go. Like because I haven't been in DC like that before dating, like sometimes with Martin and stuff, but this is the first time I'm out there in the city just like exploring stuff, and I was like, man, this isn't that bad. So there's some good things about it, but man, if you're like dating intentionally, like it's rough. What about you, Catherine? Go ahead. What were you saying?
I was just gonna say you said a lot of things there, and one of the things I wanted to touch on that you brought up was like this ghosting etiquette. Like back in my day, I mean, I'm out the game. I'm seasoned veteran. I got the rings to show it. The championship rings. That being said, I was told a long time ago that you're not supposed to ghost at all. Like it's rude.
Mm.
Is that not the case anymore? Is there like a certain scenario where you're just like, you know what, this girl, she crazy. I'm just not gonna respond to her, or she said that she didn't reach for the check, so I'm ghosting her. Like, what are the scenarios where it's okay to ghost a woman or a guy? And you can also ghost a guy.
Point out, there's the problem with ghosting right there, as men think that they're entitled to women answering all the time, and guys are doing the ghosting.
This is the first opportunity where I was like, you know what? I'm going to include Catherine, but like America, we're going to kick you out because you need to stick to your vocation. Okay, no. Have you guys seen the Harrison Butker thing?
No, I haven't.
Okay. I'm glad Catherine got it.
Yeah.
That was like the worst thing you could say to a woman, and I take that back. And I don't want our listeners to think that I'm this bigoted person. I have a couple jokes. I've had fun with jokes like that, but that's not how I truly feel. Of course, right. Anyway, Catherine, when can you ghost somebody?
I am also of the camp that ghosting is really not. I think that it causes a lot of pain and it's not respectful. With that being said, I have ghosted in my past.
Nobody's perfect. Why did you ghost? Did the hair start thinning?
He
was like, I saw the hymns box on his table.
Took their hat off. Like,
oh! Hat fished.
No, I was thinking about this because I've been watching the Left on Red thing, and my advice to anyone who has been ghosted in the past, it's definitely like you're dodging a bullet, because the person who's doing the ghosting is not an emotionally mature person that has their yeah.
But do you think it's circumstantial? Like, for example, let's say a guy is
For
being
sure.
really creepy, touchy-feely on the first date, and you're just like, well, like, I'm not into that. It's
Yeah.
better for you to just walk away from the situation and to give him a reason. Like, in that scenario, I would think that it's okay. And I don't think it's impolite to be like, no, I'm not saying anything. The other, if you do engage, if you interact, it could lead to more type of, sexual advances or uncomfortability and stuff like that.
But couldn't you just say, like, hey, I don't think this is going anywhere. Like, we're not compatible. That is the part for me that was always hard. It's hard to say that because as a serial people pleaser, I know that that's not what someone wants to hear. So I would rather avoid the confrontation than saying something that I know someone doesn't want to hear.
Or maybe they're in the camp of they were waiting for you to say that because they felt obligated to go on a third date with you.
All right. Feel added, but that's a good point, Catherine. I hate you, right? That's a good point. That's a good point, Catherine. Because as well as a serial people pleaser, it is easier to kind of just fade away. But I do think in the early, like very early stage, especially if you're on the dating apps and stuff, I don't think like if the first, like, this is just me, like I feel like if both of you guys on the first date was like, well, I mean, I guess you got to read the room, right? But even I think before the first date, if it's just texting and you're just not, either they said something rude or you weren't feeling it or whatever, I think it's fine. Like I had an experience where a girl left me on red and I was like, all right, fine, whatever. And then she came back out of nowhere like a week later, and I was like, I'm not responding to this. Like, it's like you didn't value my time. Why did I value your time? So I was like, okay, well, you weren't feeling me. So I think that's fine. However, I do agree with what you're saying. Is like, okay, if it is like 1-2 dates in, you should be like, okay, like we're not working out, whatever. But it's so much easier to hope that they like, yeah, they say it, because as people pleasers, we're like, dodge a bullet. I don't have to deal with any conflict. And it's funny that we talk about people pleasing, because that's one thing I've learned a lot during this process, is that my people pleasing is bad, man. And I saw a Saturday Night Live skit this past weekend with my dad. It was like People Pleaser Anonymous. Guys, if you hadn't seen this, we're gonna put the link of the skit in the comments below. If you guys haven't seen it, watch it. It's funny. But it really like made me like, dang, bro, like that's me. Like that's me. But I do agree with Martin that if it is like a sketchy time, because it's hard, like men can be scary, man. Like, because even if you say like, hey, we weren't working out, whatever, they can just like blow up on you, like on the text, like,
Yeah.
and especially if they know where you live, like.
That's why you always pick bear. The answer is very obvious.
Oh my God. That's really a thing. Like, what would you rather be? A bear or a man? And a lot of women are saying, I'd rather be in a forest with a bear than near
always a bear. There are a bunch of comments too in the like left on red where it's like, and that's why you pick a bear. Bear wouldn't do that.
A bear wouldn't do that.
Well, Catherine has bears in the backyard, so she knows the bears wouldn't do that. She feels safe. Anything, they're probably protecting her.
I know.
The bears are nice.
That's one thing I've noticed.
No men, only bears here.
That's one thing I have noticed during this like this whole like dating process, is more just like I'm more aware of like my actions, even when it's like, because I know like, it's not romantic or whatever to ask for a kiss or whatever. You really gotta read the situation. But like even just like having a girl like, well, we talked about this off the pod, having a girl like by your side, not behind you. Well, they're behind you, doesn't matter, but you being in front of them, it could make people like them being in front of you, I'm sorry, it can make some women feel, because the guy's just chilling behind me, I don't know this dude. So I've been more aware of like certain actions that I'm doing, thinking about like, how would I feel if I don't know this dude that he's taking me out of like catching a ride with him or any like going to his crib, anything like that, I watch true crime. Like I'm like I say this like, and I'm with this dating thing. I always ask. I'm like, you okay with this? Like, this is I show. Like, it's like being black in America when you get pulled over by a police officer. You put your hand on the dashboard. They be like, bro, what you doing? I was like, look, I seen this movie before, bro. All right, seen this movie before. I'm just trying to prepare myself. So me in this dating game, like as I'm like being around women, especially like for the first time, if it's online dating, I'm very much aware of my privilege, I guess, and also the fact that I'm a man and a bear is more obvious in its intentions than like, because I can be the nicest person ever, but so was Ted Bundy. Not trying to scare people with dating, but
that's super true though, and I kind of want to flip it, Martin. Now showing off your rings at the very beginning, like, is that something that I don't know, like it's very interesting to think about because in college.
What are you talking about? College me?
Yeah.
What did I do in college?
I'm saying we, like all together, we weren't as aware. Like girls didn't know to look out for that. Girls weren't as like aware. Guys were definitely not even close to that aware. And we're
probably like with regard to like consent or
just like being aware of even like body language of like making sure that a girl feels comfortable and that you're not being threatening or that like something that you're doing cannot be perceived.
Yeah, I mean, I think
you show out the pearly whites.
Yeah, I think that's something that's learned and it's evolved over time. I mean, I think that the knowledge base wasn't there, and there's been more, this with social media blowing up. There's been more incidents or cases where people are getting like put away for not getting the okay, doing like it's like the rape happening and all that stuff, and understanding what rape is. And
even aside from that, just like thinking about how a person that you're on a date with might feel in a certain situation. Like you obviously, like Jermaine is obviously like very, very nice and considerate and thoughtful, but he's taking it like 10 extra steps to make sure that he shows that to a girl.
Mm-hmm. And
yeah,
I know what you're saying now. It's interesting because Jermaine definitely is taking it 10 steps further, but then you have like this like idea of what a man's supposed to be, and you're not supposed to be like you have that. Well, I don't know if Jermaine's heard this, but it's like you got to be more assertive, not aggressive, but more assertive, and just like take the lead and just go for it. But also make sure she's comfortable. But also you don't know if she's comfortable, so you're trying to have a hard time like reading the situation. And I just think it comes with like trial and error, really. Like as a younger person, you're just out there just seeing what sticks. You're like throwing spaghetti at the wall, like what sticks. And if it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Obviously, you don't want to get to the point where you're making someone feel uncomfortable. You just, I don't know. I feel like it sounds like bragging, but I'm not really. Like I've always feel like I can read a room. And I don't know if that's something that's taught or if it's just me in general. Like I'm just like I just listen and look at people. I can just see in their face if their body's turned away from you, they're not really interested. If they're talking over you, more than likely, they don't really care what you have to say. Sorry, Catherine. Okay. It was low-hanging fruit. You should have to hang up. Don't hang up. Please don't hang up. But yeah, like, I don't know. I think it's learned. I don't think it's something that inherently everyone knows how to do, like, right out the womb. The first time they go out on a date, they just know to read these situations. I don't know. What do you think, Jermaine?
I think you're right. It's a learned thing. And it can be a taught thing, too. Like, a lot of, I don't know, man, like for my dad didn't teach me any type of respecting of a woman. Like the stories he told me prior to my mom, it was just like, he didn't even care what they like, how they were feeling or whatever. Like he would just actively end up doing whatever he wanted to because he cared about him. It was hardly that I ever heard anything from him on like how to treat a woman. All he said was, don't hit a woman. Like, which is great. Don't hit women. But he didn't tell me, like, how to treat a woman. Or
that's so bare minimum.
Right.
Like,
Don't put
very
your hands
least,
on them.
don't hit her.
It's really, really hard. Just don't do it.
You're gonna want to do it. You're gonna want to do it. Sometimes you're gonna say something. You just go like,
My man said, my man told me, he was like, you don't lay your hands on them. You just pick them up and shake them a little bit. What? And I took that to heart for a long time. I was like, all right, I can't just have to shake them.
You can't shake. You can't shake. What you do is you gotta go around and outline them like,
If I could, like Pinky.
Just like outline them like, ooh, if I could. Like, you gotta do that. That's it. That's all you can do. That's the only thing that's acceptable. But even then, you might still catch a case because they feel threatened. What you might do. So what guys typically do, when they're more mature, they just shut down and just walk away from the situation, which causes more problems because, like, why are you not engaging? Do you not care? Do you not want this? You're not trying to fight for us? And you just can't win. So as a guy, we learn this. This is how you sustain a marriage, right? You just understand that you can't win in those situations, and you just revisit it once they calm down, or you get them a snack, and you're just like, hey, you want some chips? I mean, I'm still mad at you. 3 chips later. What? 5 chips later. Stop looking at me. It's that easy, Jermaine. When in doubt, feed people chips. But Catherine, I did have a question about the idea of a guy not being forward and like a guy's intentions. Because a lot of people say like nice guys finish last. And people typically say that if a guy is just too nice, like nice guys, they have a hidden meaning of what they really want. They have like hidden intentions. What do you feel about that idea?
I don't know. I just feel like if you like click with somebody. Like, I think off the pod earlier, you were saying that you had like a situation, Maine, where someone was only texting you 1 time a day. Like, I don't know. I just feel like you don't have to think too much about whether things are right or wrong, or you're moving too fast, or you're being too assertive. If things are just clicking, you're like feeding off the other person's energy, and it's like a competitive game of pickleball.
Competitive game of pickleball. Okay, I like that.
But like, all right, so it kind of goes in line with the ghosting conversation. How long after the first date should you wait to text?
Okay, so I want to.
When did it become ghosting?
I want to circle to that one, but it reminds me, I don't know if you guys remember after the last pod we stayed on and we were talking about when should you say I love you? When is the appropriate time? And I've been thinking about that, which I think might have like led into this episode some stuff that, anyways.
Okay. What? Hold on to that thought about the love you thing. Martin asked the question of how long does it take for you to text between the first date? Is that correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So I'll go first, but please hold on that thought about the love thing, Catherine, so we can get into that. I think, it depends on the situation, but like at least from the past dates I've been on, people have been like, "Hey, let me know if you made it home safe. If it was a good date." So I text as soon as I get back to the crib. I won't expect a text back, especially if it's like the first date. Personally, I wouldn't expect it until like that afternoon, because if you got work or you got other activities that weekend or whatever, maybe that afternoon. But anything past that, like if you don't hear anything for like a whole day, I feel like you can safely say the person's really not into you. Like, even if they text back, like especially the length of text, that's what I'm learning too. The amount of text they send. It doesn't have to be a mountain, but they like send like a 1 word or like K or something. Like if you get the K, bro, like cancel Christmas, fam. She ain't into you, bro.
What if the first message they send is "you up?" ? Like, is that a yay or a nay?
Well, it depends, bro. Like, all right.
if it's me, if I'm sending you a text message at 2 a.m., I've had a couple drinks, I'm lost in the middle of Virginia, but I'm around your way, and I hit you with the "you up" text. Are you responding?
I mean, I would. I responded.
Catherine,
One
same
time,
scenario. If I she's gonna leave me outside.
Bear. I pick Bear.
That's fair. That's a fair answer.
That's fair. All right, Catherine, your answer for the date question. Then we're going to dive into the love question. First date, how long would you take to text it back? Let's say the dude was like, "Hey, I'm gonna text you when I get back to my crib." He was like, "Made it, had a good time." That's it. When would you text back? Let's say you sleep. When would you text back in the next day? What is the appropriate amount of time?
Probably something the next day. Nothing like super intense or like a lot of like, I don't know, feelings.
The first date.
But like
Peach emoji.
I just pictured Catherine responding back like toenails. Like, what? I didn't want to go too serious, so I just said something. Just wanted to make sure you were still there.
What if they sent the meme?
yeah, that's what I mean. Or like something relevant to something you like talked about or something.
Okay. I like that. All right. So if the guy didn't text you all day, what would you think was going on? You said, "Hey, text me when you get back to the crib." He said, "Oh, text me you as well, whatever." You text him, "Hey, I had a great time. I made it back." You hear nothing for the entire next day.
Yeah, it's too much. There are too many games. I don't do like mind games and like, oh, I was waiting for the 3-day rule, and I don't know. I feel like
Is that still a thing? The 3-day rule?
Well, even deeper question, like, who should be sending the first text after the date? Like, is it on the guy or is it on the girl? Like, who should be like, you say you made it home, cool. The next day comes around. Who's the onus on? Jermaine.
I'm gonna make standards. I'm gonna make the standards today. We're all gonna fall by it as a society. Man pays for the first date. Woman responds the next day with the first text.
That makes sense. If you're a beta, I'm kidding. No, that makes sense.
yeah, I'll send you a text for dinner. That works.
Hey, had a really good time.
Nah, but I don't know. Personally, I don't know. Like, I just, because I'm similar to Catherine.
Catherine's just like, this is all? Okay.
Thanks for dinner. Sorry, we're not compatible.
Like, I feel like, at least for me, as I'm like navigating this thing as like hopefully a reformed people pleaser by the end of my dating cycle. I don't like playing games. I don't like, if I feel like I'm gonna text them. I hate all of y'all.
I just can't get over like I don't like playing games. Oh, so nice we went out on a date. I'm not into it. I'm sorry. I'm tough.
Honestly, look.
Is that not a game?
That's not a game. Well, okay, if someone did like, there are some people out there on dating apps that are like doing it just for food. Like my brother had a girl he matched with on Hinge, and she was like, "Oh, let's go to this restaurant." It was like, I think near the wharf or whatever. It was like a Michelin star restaurant. She was like, "Let's go here on our first date." One plate, $150. Yeah, an entree, $150. My brother was like, "You say seafood, right next to it is a $20 plate or $25 plate. Let's go to that one." She said, "I'm sorry, we're just not compatible." So she's using dating to
feed herself,
to live her life. And I'm like, true, but also fucked up. But I'm like, I get it. I respect the game. You catch a fool slipping, then you catch a fool slipping. You went to Gordon Ramsay's restaurant. Got paid in full. You got a $300 dinner for free.
but that beef Wellington is fantastic. If you're talking about that restaurant, that beef Wellington is fantastic.
We gotta go there as well. But yeah, but as we're coming towards not the end of the podcast, but I want to talk about the love thing, Catherine, that you mentioned earlier. Can you elaborate on that, or your like what you thought about it?
So I saw some stuff that just said like dating culture in general is changing because apps are making it so like fast paced. It's not even like hookup culture. It's just like the expectation as soon as you start talking is like relationship or no. Okay, move on to the next one. Relationship or no. And that like some of the buildup is missing. And then I was watching Married at First Sight and it was like the same thing, basically.
Do you think it's like a fatigue of options? Like you have so many options at the swipe at your hand, so it's harder to build those connections and get to the point where you're saying I love you because you're just like I think I love you, but let me go on these other dates to figure this out.
Well, people are like looking for the partnership, the love, the relationship, and you're doing it. This makes me sound so old, but through a screen and using technology, and so you're just hoping that like an algorithm matches you and that it happens instantaneously.
So where's that love part though? Like the saying "I love you," because I know you're saying that it's like it's rushed, right? Like like you intentionally you go out intentionally dating, but intentional dating before the apps was like, hey, I'm now like whatever, I go to the bar, whatever, like if I want to see this person again, like I can know immediately like, okay, there's gonna be a hookup, or I can go on another date. While the apps are kind of like, hey, you matched. If the first date went great, y'all are perfect together. It's not even like, oh, let me fill this out and see. It's more like it should be perfect because the computer said it was perfect, right? Like, or
like the app is just supposed to make it so that way you meet this person since you're not like meeting them naturally in the wild. And I guess like the idea is that once you meet, then you start a normal like relationship pattern. But what it's actually doing is cutting out that like normal relationship pattern, and people are like immediately jumping into committed relationships, I guess.
I see exactly what you're saying. I think,
and you're missing the like emotion step. It really is like robots kind of. You're like cutting out. You're like, oh, we're supposed to be compatible. We matched, and then we'll build the emotions from there. It's flip flop of how traditional dating is, I guess.
Right. I was actually thinking about this as I was talking to Martin earlier about this girl I'm going on the third date with. Was with my ex, like we dated for like 3 months, like 3 maybe 4 months before we said, hey, are you seeing anyone else? Like I was like, it was 3 months in and basically 8 like math 12 dates. We did 12 dates, and then we were like, hey, you want to be boyfriend and girlfriend? Like after 8 dates, we were like, do you want to exclusively date? And then it's like, hey, do you want to continue this as like a couple? And that was like 3 months in. And now, like, I don't know if it was like COVID or something, but now it's like, hey man, like we got to like date forward, like we locked in. And I'm like, that shouldn't be that. I feel like this is very fast. And that's why when I was telling you guys about, like, I was talking to one of my friends in Richmond about the whole like when to say I love you, and they were like, oh, I knew after like 3 months, but they didn't add the like aside of they've been working with this person for a year.
Right.
They were basically work husband, work wife. Both had relationships, and then when those relationships failed, then they got together. So they already liked each other. So it only was natural that it got there. So when I said 6 months, and she was like, that's way too long. You should know after 3 months. And I was like, really? Should you? But she didn't add that aside. Because I feel like I love you is like, I don't know. I think today in the dating life is like, it's either very trivial. It's very like people just throwing out I love yous, just hoping that they can catch something. Like, oh, I hope they say I love you back. And then we can meet it, right? Like married at first sight. I do. Now we can start. I love you. Did they say it back? I'll wait, but at least I put it out there. I don't know. It's a very strange time. Martin, you had a thought.
You look like you want to say something.
I did. I feel like, again, kind of piggybacking how old Catherine sounds, but with the with the evolution of technology, like we can get everything instantly. So we want our life to work the exact same way. And I think people go into relationships like, I want that immediate spark. If it's not there, I'm on to the next one. I'm not going to take the time to foster a relationship, to build those emotions, to see whether we're compatible or not. We need to be compatible date one or date two, or it's not going to work. And I think that in general, relationships takes time to build and grow to get to a point where it's healthy and sustainable. If you're living off that high, that dopamine hit that you have, and you're trying to get through the rest of your relationship like that, when you do run into hard times, you're not going to have that foundation. You don't have a foundation. You just have that dopamine. So when the dopamine wears off, you're going to start to resent each other and you're going to separate. And I think everybody's just chasing that dopamine hit and not trying to build the foundations of a relationship. So when it gets to love, a lot of times the love comes from a place of, I don't want to say it's not genuine, but I kind of don't think it's really that genuine a lot of times. I think it's just like, it's lust at first. Because in my opinion, love is like a choice. I think loving someone is a choice. I don't think it's a feeling. I think it's a choice that I'm going to honor and work hard together to be. What is
perfect? Absolutely perfect. But literally,
what timing on that? That's crazy. But no, I think love is a choice. I think you choose to love you first. You choose to be with the person that you're with. You choose to honor them. Get through the good times, the bad times, happy or sad times. Like that's gonna be your person. No matter.
I see what you're saying.
And they feel the same way about you because it has to be reciprocated. And if it's not reciprocated, then it's one-sided and very depressing.
Well, I would say that I agree with the lust thing. I feel like with the dating apps, especially with the dating, because all you get is images. That's all you get. You get images and then some prompts and stuff. So first thing you're gonna do is like, am I attracted to this person? This is not like you work with somebody or you go to school with somebody or meet them out in the wild and you're like, oh, okay, like they make me laugh. We have similar interests. Oh, he's kind of cute or she's kind of cute. Or, okay, let's see. Or like even like a feeling of like, I don't know, like Catherine, like in the wild, or I know like you've had crushes on people like when you were in Charleston. Was it just like a pool that happened? Like you just felt like it was like a click. You were like, oh, I don't know. This person seems really cool. I want to get to know them. And you couldn't explain that. That's like, but you don't get that from the app. From the apps, it's just like, okay, this person's cute. Oh, okay, this person aligns with my values. Let's see what happens. And then in person, that's when you get that feeling. But yeah, I do think like at first it's lush, like especially in the lush. I'm a lush. Lust. Lust in the with the apps and people confuse that for love. You know, especially if like they had a dry spell or whatever. They're like, oh, this person's paying attention to me. Like,
then that post and that clarity hits, and you're just like, you know what? I just needed a nut. I'm a ghost you. I'm just a ghost you.
Full circle.
But then I didn't tell you guys the hook for Left on Red at the end. They say like, do you guys want to go on one more date now that we've cleared up the miscommunication? And if you go on that date, we'll pay for it.
Oh.
Yeah.
More of the story, just go on Left on Red, you get a free date out.
I felt like, how many of those people actually say yes?
I think maybe 1 out of the 100 that I watched today.
Oof. Oof.
I was just thinking though, because I've only ever dated people that I've met in real life. And you get to like see how they interact with other people before you actually like start dating them seriously. You get to see them interacting with other people and how they just like are. And you get more perspective on this person. Do you think that eventually like there's a shift coming? I don't know, just thinking now, but like society wise and dating wise,
A
You
shift
mean
toward
towards what?
towards that like instantaneous dating where you're just looking at a profile with a picture and whatever someone types and then like it's just so different than actually seeing somebody in person and talking with them and seeing their body language and how they interact and work and I don't know.
I think that's the jumping off point. Like, I think that you're just going to start meeting people that way. But I think I'm making up numbers, so don't quote me on this. But I think most people meet their significant other through school or work or the job. Yeah, school and work and or church. Those
Church
are the three,
or activity.
or an activity. I think activity is on the lower end. But you can generally meet someone through like environment. Outside of that, then it's like the dating apps, which is like that might be that like 5-10% of relationships come from like, dating apps, long term happy relationships from that. I think that it's better to meet a person like and build a community, but not just a community of people. Like get around other people, other single people. You get to see how they act, like you said, in the wild, and you're like, oh, I actually really like how you carry yourself. I like your morals, and then that leads to a stronger connection. That's what I think. As far as like dating apps, I feel like you have to use that. You don't have to, but you can use that as a tool to build a community or meet friends, kind of like what we were talking about before the pod, Jermaine, where you like date a girl, you're like, oh, let's just be friends, and then you get her access to her network of friends by hanging out, and then you might find someone through that, or guys and the guys' girlfriends or their wives, and then you hang out with those people, and then you meet someone through that community. So I think that there's benefit in the dating apps. If you find someone, great. If you don't find someone, at least you might find some friends that have some friends that you're trying to smash. I mean, that you're trying to marry. You're trying to marry.
I mean, I think it also gets you out of your comfort zone. Like if you never had like a community or been out and like for me, for example, been out in the city as much, it'll give you exposure to like do this stuff. And now it's ingrained in you. Like for me, I'm like, oh, okay, like every weekend now I want to go to the city. Like now it's something that's like in me to do so. So use it as a tool, like you said. It can be used as a tool. You can also find someone there. I have a couple of friends and family that have met their partner through that, or like you said, network. But it's a tool. But I feel like just don't get caught in the trap of thinking the AI is gonna like get you, like the AI is gonna like get that person for you, because I do feel like, at least especially in the workplace, at least from my experience at my like workplace, is very, very frowned upon and like deemed to
But
like,
it's illegal.
it's not illegal, but you can get fired. So it's like,
But is it illegal? Like you
but
just
it's
keep
like I
your
feel like back in the day it was more acceptable to you meet your person in the workplace, but now it's like if you meet your person in the workplace, you have to deal with HR. If you just have a one and done thing, it's going to be very awkward. It's also going to ruin like, it's like the whole like don't shit where you eat, right?
I agree with that. I agree with that aspect of it.
So, and then also the whole thing of like, again, respect, like we talked about earlier about like respecting and understanding boundaries, like the Me Too thing. That was another thing that like a lot of people have a very like a different understanding of like workplace relationships. Like you can see, like I see people at my job, I don't think it's cute, like it's cute, whatever. Granted, some of them have partners, but regardless, it's that friction of like, should we, don't we? Maybe we'll have an episode where we talk about like why did we move away from that being an acceptable way to like further way to like online dating. Maybe we can just go to that.
But I do want to point out that with dating apps, I don't think that the goal is to get you off the app, because how else are they going to make money? No one's going to be telling the success story of, oh, I used Hinge and this is how I met my person, and I'm going to keep on endorsing that everywhere I go, saying, oh, we met on Hinge. No, what's going to happen is you're going to be like, I met my person on a dating app, and that's it. They're not getting money off of you not using the app. So I think that there's a conflict of interest in people hoping to meet their person through these dating apps, where they're not going to match you necessarily with the person who might. The algorithm might know who's your 100% perfect match, but you might never see them because someone behind the scenes is pulling the strings. So just something to keep in mind with dating apps.
Right. I mean, or it could just be like you said, like that one person that you know out of all these people got it, and they say, yeah, I met it. If you haven't had luck, it's like kind of like multi-level marketing. Like they're not like telling these people to do it, but they had success and they want to share that. They're so excited they want to share that success. So then get people on the apps, and the cycle continues. But
I don't know. You can pay me to do anything.
if
Hinge was like, hey, why don't you say you and your wife met there, and we'll pay you like $25,000. Actually, honestly, they could pay me $25. I'd be like, yo. So we met on the apps. Money talks, man, and
Like every time you say it, you get $25. So you're just telling everybody.
And then there's like balloons that pop up behind me, or oh no, fireworks.
Fireworks.
I think balloons are this one.
Do you got it too?
No, I need to update my phone.
Oh, I don't know if I have mine. No, it doesn't work. Regardless, what do you guys think? Let us know in the comments below as Martin shows off his balloons. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this episode. And if you have any stories, where can they let us know all their stories and comments? Where can they share it at?
Yeah, you can find us at Unsolicited Counseling Podcast on Facebook. You can also find us at Unsolicited Counseling on YouTube and Instagram. Of course, you can find us at youadvicepodcast@gmail.com.
Awesome, guys. And as always, we love you guys. We're here for you guys. One drink at a time, one episode at a time. Be easy, y'all.
Later.